Folks, if you listen to this podcast or talk radio, you would have known 18 months ago that Hunter Biden's laptop was real, that he took money illegally from at least the Chinese and the Russians. You'd have watched the New York Post be banned on social media, shamed among other media outlets who it turned out were lying to you. And you would know this if you had listened to this podcast or talk radio for the last 18 months. You'd know that the truth tellers are the ones who are banned in our society, that the fact checks are fake, that you can practically watch what they're fact checking and tell what is true by what they go after. This definitively proves it. What am I talking about? The New York Times, casually, after 18 months, admitting, buried many paragraphs down that, oh yeah, Hunter Biden's laptop was real, not Russian disinformation. Let me remind you what that time period sounded like. This is the sound of the same mainstream media that's lying to you right now about Russia, right now about Ukraine, lying to you about Hunter's laptop. Here's what it sounded like when they told you that Hunter's laptop was actually Russian disinformation. No, it was Hunter's laptop. By the way, folks, stay tuned with this podcast because we're going to get into why now they admit this and what the implications are. And folks, what's on that laptop? It's all relevant. Now that we're in one of the places Hunter took money illegally from, Ukraine. It's all tied together. I'll tie it into a nice little bow, a little package for you. But stick with me. It'll blow your mind. Okay, so here's the sound of the mainstream media lying to you. As you hear this clip, ask yourself, why do any of these people have Twitter accounts when the New York Post lost theirs for honestly reporting about Hunter Biden? Why are any of these people not banned on social media for their fake news, disinformation, and lies? And folks, these lies are hilarious in retrospect.
Biden's secret emails.
A really fishy story.
The Post claimed that the emails were found on a laptop computer that was brought to a repair shop in Delaware in the spring of 2019. For all we know, these emails are made up.
The information found on the laptop may be part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Part of a Russian disinformation effort.
Described by many intelligence experts as having hallmarks.
All the hallmarks
of a Russian
disinformation.
Russian disinformation.
Disinformation campaign.
This is a classic example of the right-wing media machine.
The FBI is now investigating whether those alleged Hunter Biden emails are actually connected to a larger foreign intelligence operation.
They may be related to a foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence operation.
But the Hunter laptop story is a thing of abject horror. Yes, right. Abject horror. Because the implications here are so much bigger. Remember the letter written by 51 intelligence experts who told you, ignore it, it's a lie. It's Russian disinformation. The list includes all the former highest ranking, nearly all anyway, former highest ranking intelligence officials. Every one of them jumped at the chance to lie for the Democrat Party, its nominee, and for Joe Biden. This shows you in rare form how profoundly corrupt these agencies are. The New York Post went back through, called every one of these stinking liars, and asked them for comment. Not a single one of the 51 responded. A couple of them got back to say they weren't going to respond. Most ignored it. Look, it reads like a list of corruption. Andy Liebman, former National Counterterrorism Center Deputy Director. John Mosman, former CIA Chief of Staff. Larry Pfeiffer, former CIA Chief of Staff. Think CIA is corrupt? Oh, is it corrupt? Jeremy Bash, former CIA Chief of Staff. Rodney Snyder, former CIA Chief of Staff. Glenn Gerstle, former National Security Agency General Counsel. John Brennan, former head of the CIA. Liar. John McLaughlin, former CIA acting director. Liar. Rick Legit, former National Security Agency deputy director. These are the people who get to spy on you by collecting all your emails and texts, everything about you. Let's keep going. Mike Hayden, former CIA director. Jim Clapper, he is the former director of national intelligence. The National Intelligence Director is the highest ranking intel official in the entire land. Liar. Want to hear what it sounds like when the highest ranking former intelligence official in the land lies to you on CNN? Cool. Here you go.
To me, this is just classic textbook Soviet-Russian tradecraft at work. The Russians have analyzed the target. They understand that the president and his enablers crave dirt on Vice President Biden, whether it's real or contrived, it doesn't matter to them. And so all of a sudden, two and a half weeks before the election, this laptop appears.
Folks, whenever they talk about Russia, they are lying. Russia collusion. 17 intelligence agencies said they hacked the election. Turns out it was a lie. They're talking a lot about Russia right now. Think they're still lying? And folks, ask yourself as you hear all of this, could this be why the Russian tanks are rolling into Ukraine to make sure NATO, i.e. us, never gets a foothold there? If you heard this rhetoric over and over, from our intel agencies, would it alarm you at all if you were Russian? Might it eventually provoke you to war? It was all a lie. The Russians know it. This is why it is so threatening to them. They know these intelligence agents are lying about them. They look at us in fear as if we are a mortal enemy. Maybe we are. Let's keep going with the New York Post's list of top intelligence liars so you can see how far and deep and wide the corruption within these agencies is. Thomas Finger, former National Intelligence Council chair. Liar. Leon Panetta, former CIA director and defense secretary. Folks, this shows you the powerful array inside these agencies that is arrayed against us. They hired everybody running these agencies. Now they are at war with you. There are many days now, I think, y'all, as I dread what's coming financially, that I think that the silver lining in all of this financial collapse of the dollar, which will most certainly lead to the financial collapse of the federal government, has a silver lining. The final elimination, hopefully, of these agencies, not just from our country, but from the world. They have terrorized the world. But that's for another time. Back to the laptop, why now, and what it means. Remember how I've described the significance of the laptop to you before. The FBI is investigating Hunter Biden. There's been an open investigation since 2019, and they are in possession of the laptop. David Weiss, a U.S. attorney from Hunter's home state of Delaware, is also investigating Hunter. What is going on with these? Okay, this is how they can control Joe. And Joe tells us at every turn. Oh, yeah, I take directions. I'm told what to do. He is. Democrat Party owns him completely. He is their Jesus Christ. They intend to cast all sins on him and then crucify him. And they're going to get away with doing a lot of nasty things in the meantime, using Biden's hands that they can then wash their hands of because they've pinned their sins on him. The laptop gives them the control they all need. The FBI to run amok off the chain, the Democrats to do as they like with Joe. They've never had an opportunity like this. That laptop is a source of power for all these people. It's perfect blackmail material. It's why Joe always does as he's told, even if implementing these policies is dramatically, personally destructive to Joe Biden's persona, his legacy, his name in history. They control him utterly. Joe's a whore and a psychopath. He doesn't care. It's the most perfect opportunity the Democrats have ever had to remake through breaking the country, America. And they'll unleash everything on it when they're done with him. They'll condemn him and cut him loose. That's the crucifixion part. It's coming. But for now, they're enjoying the control. But enough about that. This week, Joe, yes, Joe, gave you a preview of what's on that laptop when he talked about how everybody has family members that have been caught in sexually compromising positions. And, you know, the pictures put on the internet. Well, actually, most people's. I don't have any family members like that. I don't know if you do. But why would Joe say that last week? Because on the laptop are copies of text that he had been saving back and forth that referred to Joe Biden, Jill Biden, and others in the Biden family, and how Hunter wasn't allowed to be alone with underage female minors in the family on account of the stuff he'd done with them in the past. Do I have your attention now? Rudy Giuliani, former New York mayor and legendary prosecutor who broke up the mob there, has a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop. He knows exactly what's on it. And he's been trying to tell us what that is for a year and a half. There's child porn pictures on there with a young adult from the Biden family. They've been all over the internet and subsequently pulled down, archived though, and they circulate on places like Gab and Rumble and Getter. Those of us who frequent those places have been seeing them for 18 months now. But I'll let Rudy break it to you, what's on that laptop. Here he is in a Newsmax interview last year.
It's also a bit perverted. You've got child pornography on that place, on that hard drive that the FBI had.
Yeah, we've heard the allegations.
Delaware police reported. I brought it to them.
Yeah,
I brought it to them. I showed them the pictures of the young girl with no clothes on. They didn't do a damn thing about it because the Bidens can get away with child pornography. It's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. And no wonder he's such a terrible president. The man is completely amoral. The fact that he's a nice man, garbage. He's a mean guy. Well, I've been a lawyer all my life, and for 17 years as a prosecutor. And nobody really understands this, but my reason for doing this is my sense of justice was just outraged when I saw this. I mean, I got it to defend President Trump, but went against Russian collusion because there was Ukrainian collusion, not Russian collusion, which is all coming out now, including with the indictment. Hillary Clinton paid for the Russian collusion story. It's completely made up. I defended him on that. Now, I didn't know that this hard drive existed at the time, which means that Director Gray of the FBI and the Attorney General hid it. They held it back when it could have exonerated the president. I mean, Gray should be out on his backside immediately.
Now do you see how staggering the implications of that laptop are and why so many in our intelligence agencies might have been persuaded to lie to you? That laptop is not just assured destruction for Joe. It goes the other way. The FBI's had a hold of it since 2019. What's on that laptop is mutual assured destruction for both. And giving interviews like that is probably why the FBI raided Rudy Giuliani's home last year. He did yet another interview trying to tell us what's on that hard drive. It was the only thing the FBI wouldn't touch. He tried to give it to him, his copy. That way he'd know they knew about the child porn. They wouldn't take it.
Having raided my house and having found nothing, the only incriminating thing in my house are the Hunter Biden hard drives, and they wouldn't take them. I mean, I offered them the incriminating evidence. Here, I got plenty of crimes for you. And the FBI said, no, we don't want that.
They didn't take the laptops,
it isn't
right?
just this.
I mean,
that's
stunning.
And it contains one crime after another, including child pornography.
So that plus Joe's statement this week about, kind of family members being caught on the internet in incriminating sexual positions, that kind of gives you an idea of what's coming, but only some of it. To properly understand the implications, the absolute nuclear bombshell of the New York Times admitting this is real, it now makes it real, which makes everything on it real. Here's a Cliff Notes version. 20% for the big guy in one message, 10% for the big guy in another. The details of massive transfers of Chinese money into Hunter's accounts, none of which he reported to the IRS. And, well, I'll let Hunter himself describe the implications. See, with all the threats that Biden is making toward Russia and Putin, including calling Putin a war criminal, you got to keep in mind what the Russians have on Joe. They stole Hunter's laptop. That's right. Now, the Russians have been collecting information on Hunter for a long time. Hunter at one point was surrounded by nothing but Russian drug dealers and Russian prostitutes. And at one point, he's caught on video that we now have, it was published in the UK Daily Mail, telling another naked prostitute that the Russians had stolen his laptop and had possible blackmail on him. Let me read you the transcript so that you can see Hunter describing what is on these laptops. He says to the prostitute, I think he's the one who stole my computer. I think the three of them, the three guys that were like a little group, the dealer and his two guys, I took them everywhere. The Russians, inaudible, she'd walk out with the blanking bathing suit in her hand. They have videos of me doing this. They have videos of me doing crazy blanking, sex blanking, you know. The hooker asks, how long ago did this happen? Summer. So it would have been out already if they, and then Hunter says, no, because my dad is running for president. He is. I talk about it all the time. If they do, he knows I make like $1 gazillion. He's referring to the Russian guy who stole the laptop. The hooker says, they'd try to blackmail you? Yeah, Hunter says, in some way, yeah. Now that you know the rest of what's on the laptop, not just the naked pictures with various prostitutes you've seen, prostitutes who were of age. See the problem here? And we're where again? We're up in Putin's grill, putting his back against the wall. And the one doing it is Joe. All these people know about the compromise that the FBI possesses. Remember when I explained to you that the FBI piggybacks on Russian and Chinese blackmail of Biden? When Biden takes the money, when Hunter Biden, that is, when Hunter Biden takes the money, he's not registered as a foreign agent, that the second he takes the money, he's committing a felony. It gets worse because he can't report the money to the IRS. That's why they're investigating him on money laundering and tax fraud charges that are related to the bribery. The FBI possesses the laptop, as do, I'm sure, most of our other security agencies via NSA spying and the like. They've all got compromise on Joe, as do the Russians and the Chinese. So the Russians and the Chinese have compromise on Joe, and by possessing knowledge of it, so does the FBI and the Democrat Party. Because when you say the FBI and the Democrat Party, you're just repeating yourself. The New York Times is casually dropping this, not because they want to or because they want you to know the truth, because they're afraid it will come out either through the Weiss investigation, the FBI investigation, or through Russia. But now's the part where I'm really going to blow your mind. Hunter Biden's laptop was a thing we were not allowed to speak of at one time. What is the big thing you're not allowed to speak of now? The Biolabs in Ukraine. Well, you can speak of the Biolabs in Ukraine if you're Victoria Nuland and you're the number 2 at the State Department, or if you're David Martin and you work for CBS. They've admitted the Biolabs are real, and we know they handle dangerous pathogens, quote unquote, because the Army published it in one of its own journals. So what does this have to do with Hunter Biden's laptop? Oh, that's the best part. When Hunter Biden formed his company with his partner, Devin Archer, Rosemont Seneca, what was the first company they funded? $30 million in seed money. Metabiota. Who's Metabiota? The only private company allowed to do research at the Wuhan lab. What are the odds? But then what are the odds they'd turn up again in the Ukraine biolabs as partners of Black and Veatch, working as subcontractors to build the labs. And what is it Putin won't shut up about? The biolabs in Ukraine. This all just gets curiouser and curiouser.